Good afternoon, dear Stitchers. It's Judy with JBW Designs, and I feel like I've been gone forever, and the fact is I have been. I have not recorded a video for a month, and I will tell you in a few minutes where we were and what we were up to, and that will explain the long absence. So I just thank you so much for always your wonderful comments, the letters that you write to me, the interest that you take in the designs that I'm sharing with you. It's just so appreciated, and it makes doing these videos really so much fun. I just look forward to hearing from you. So where have we been? Well, we have been on quite an adventure, and because of COVID, the trip that we took has actually been canceled the last 2 years. So we'd actually booked this trip 3 years ago. And where we went was to Italy and Greece. And I know you're probably going, oh my gosh, that's just not a little trip to Wisconsin. No, this was a big trip, and it was wonderful. I'll just give you a real brief rundown of what we did, and then I have some pictures to share with you of some inspiration that I photographed along the way. So we actually started out in, we started out in Lake Como in Italy, and that was some place that I'd always wanted to visit. It was part, excuse me, I need to grab water, and I just started, right? It was the place that I always wanted to visit, and it met up to all of our expectations. It's absolutely beautiful. So that was a 3-day trip actually in Italy. It was the Lake Como, Verona, and Venice. And then once we arrived in Venice by coach, we boarded a cruise ship and we cruised down the Adriatic Sea from, where did we start? I have to think about this. Slovenia, Croatia, and down to Athens, Greece. So it was an amazing, amazing trip. And I feel so fortunate that we were able to make that trip. I think I'm so hoarse because we just got home Wednesday night. My husband has quite a bad cold. I hope that I'm not getting it, but I can tell from my voice it's not great right now. So I hope you'll excuse me. So that was our exciting adventure, and we were gone for 13 days. So I'm trying to get back into some kind of a schedule again so that I record videos regularly. I actually believe that I misnumbered the last video. I think I numbered it 49, and I actually think it should be 47. Don't ask me how I did that, but I'll go back and I'll try to fix it if I can. So I have a whole list of things to talk to you about today, and the first thing that I wanted to tell you about is some of the things that we saw along the way. I actually didn't see a lot of needlework, but as you know, I love to photograph things that I think might be of interest to my viewers who love to stitch. So probably the most fascinating part to me took place on our very last day when we were at the Archaeological Museum in Athens, which is just a fabulous collection. We had a guide that day, and the interesting thing is the item that I took a picture of, she never even mentioned, but of course anybody that stitches would have zeroed right in on it because in the case she was showing us some jewelry that was from the 12th to 15th century BC in Greece, and it was found in a tomb. They actually numbered the tomb that it was found in, and I found this absolutely fascinating. So you know my usual high-tech pictures on my videos, but I thought you'd be interested that these are actually 2 sewing needles, which is just hard to believe, isn't it? And then the more amazing part to me is the 3 pins that were also pictured in this display case, which look exactly like the kinds of pins we still use today. So I thought, oh, I think my viewers will be so interested in that fact that I discovered. So that was one of the things I saw on my trip. Then at another town that we were in, which is a very small town in, I'm trying to think, I think it was in Slovenia, and I'll look this up again to make sure, but we visited a very, very old home, and we had a wonderful guide. It was in the walled city of Novogard, which I believe is in Croatia, actually. And, you know, it was so hard for me to picture this trip ahead of time. I've heard these words before, Slovenia, Croatia, Montenegro, but I'd never been to that part of the world, as most of us haven't been. And they're actually just beautiful coastal towns that run all along the Adriatic Sea. So we were in this old house, and we were up on the second floor, and I found several things that were inspiring to me. One of them was actually, and these were all, this was a piece of furniture that our guide who grew up in this small little town told us had belonged to the people in the town that they had donated. And this was the inside of a chest. And I thought that design was just charming. It has another part on the other side of it over here. But I thought, oh gosh, that could be inspiration for a design. In fact, I'm working on something quite similar to that right now. And then also in that same display, there were several pieces of needlework. And this is the only time on the whole tour that I actually saw needlework other than at the bazaars. So this was a set of sheets that were in a little cradle. And if you can look at it, you can see it's just beautiful hand embroidery and cut work that was done. And then there was another set of, that was actually pillowcases. And then there was another set of sheets that had the most beautiful, charming little swans with cut work. So of course I zoomed right in on that. I'm sure the other people in the tour thought, what in the world is she doing? But that's okay. That's what I love to explore and take photos of. And I have one other photo to show you, and then I'll move on to other topics. And this happened to be a vase that was again in Athens, and I loved the border design on that. And as you know from past videos, I'm always looking for inspiration to use in future designs. So who knows, something might appear in the next set of designs, or I may just have to file it away for a while. So anyhow, the next topic that I'd like to address is some of the comments that were made in the last video. And I'm trying to think of where I put this. You know, I thought I'd pulled it out, but once again, I don't see it in the right place. So I'll put that off till the next video. Somebody asked a couple videos ago, what was your very first design, cross-stitch design? And I thought I'd pulled the book, but I don't see it close at hand here. So I will address that next time. So the next topic that appeared in notes to me had to do with my comments on Queen Elizabeth. And I had talked to you in the last video. I had posted a contest on my Friends of JBW Designs Facebook page, and I used 3 of my designs that I thought would honor Queen Elizabeth's life. And they were Ode to Britain, French Country Crown, and a little design that was made up of roses that was called With Love. And I made the mistake of making a comment about the initials that appear in Queen Elizabeth's cipher. And I've heard from 2 of our viewers who are from England and obviously know much better than I do what the actual initials meant. And I thought that the R in Queen Elizabeth's name was Regina, but it actually means queen. And so in her cipher, it said a capital letter E, a Roman number 2, so, and then the letter R, so it was Queen Elizabeth. And then likewise for King Charles' cipher, he has C, and then Roman numeral number 3, and R, which is Rex for King. So I hope I've explained that correctly. I talked about using those initials in my French country crown design, and several people liked that idea and made some wonderful comments. And incidentally, I chose a winner for that contest today, and I'm going to hopefully next week get back on track and post another contest on that page. And you're welcome to join that page anytime you want. So let's see. The other comment that someone made, and I thought these are all very disparate comments. I'm sorry they don't flow together here, but had to do with stitching for a cause. And she suggested something that I thought had so much merit to it. And she said, what about thinking about when you stitch a design, stitch that design, a monochromatic design, in a color that has meaning for you. In other words, if you did the design in pink, that could be to denote your special interest in breast cancer research, or likewise if you did it in red for heart disease for women. And I just thought that was a great idea to think about. And also it would make a lovely gift if you were thinking about a gift for someone. I got a wonderful note from Jean, and let's see, where did I put it? You can tell I'm a little disorganized today. And she just wrote the sweetest note, thanking me for a gift that she'd won and telling me how much she enjoyed the Flosstube channel. So that means so much that people take the time to write and thank me. It does take, and I can address this, I'm sure other Flosstube participants would say the same thing. It does take quite a while actually to set up your kind of an outline of what you're going to present that day, and to find all the models that you want to present, and then to record and download, etc. But I find it very satisfying, so it's worth it, and I hope you do too. So I have some great news for you, and that is I promised in the last video that I was going to reprint several of my designs. And the reason I don't always reprint, it depends on if I think, first of all, reprinting a product that has been out for quite a while is quite costly, because you're not going to print in the quantity that you usually did. But I decided, because I had shown this model a couple weeks ago, there was so much interest in people still wanting to buy it, that I reprinted it, and I'll show you that one, and then I reprinted a second title also. So the first one that people were so interested in was my antique vase sampler. It's probably a little hard to see. I'll show you the model. But it is a booklet form. The chart is quite large on the inside. As I mentioned when I talked about this piece before, it's probably one of my all-time favorite antiques that I own, only because I found that it was so unique, and it has elements in it that I think are so charming. I love the 5 vases at the bottom, the border around the outside, the elegant part of the alphabets, some of the other motifs that are used in this piece. And so I have the original of it. This is actually the model that I stitched. So this is what it looks like. The original, actually the colors are, of course, quite a bit, I'd say, duller in feeling, and you certainly are welcome to change any tones that you feel aren't something that you would want for yourself. So good news on that. I've added it back to our website again. Actually, my helper Dawn has. So we have quite a few copies of this. If you're interested in finding it again, just go to my website, jbwdesigns.com. And then the second book that I reprinted is Christmas Bells. And the interesting thing about this is, you know, once in a while, a Flosstube person, and in this case it was Annie of the Proper Stitcher, takes one of my older designs and finishes it and does such a beautiful job with the finishing that suddenly people think, oh, that's a new design, I've never seen it before, when actually this came out in 2011, so it's 11 years old. But she did such a beautiful job. She stitched it, I think, as I remember, she did it as an ornament on a 36 count. You can go back and look at her video. I think it was 2 videos ago. She didn't put the wording on. She just did the bells themselves and finished it as a little ornament, and it looked just adorable. So you could do it over 2, over 1, whatever suits your fancy. So those booklets are both up on the website again. And then also I have 3 other products that Dawn is going to add to the website, I think this weekend. And these are the wooden tags that I use, and I'll show you the booklets that they come from, that I did not have at Needlework Galleria. So these wooden tags, I'm going to show them to you in a minute here, are actually a product that I order from a company in France called the Bee Company. And Delphine, the owner, makes just wonderful products. We had a lot of problems this time, and I think she actually, one of her workers was very ill, and so even though I ordered the products back in August, I just got them this week on Tuesday. So at the Needlework Galleria show, if you happen to be there and we're looking for the products, we didn't have anything in stock there. So I'm going to put, as a result, since we didn't have them in stock, I'm going to put them on the website. And what I'm putting on is actually the tag itself. So I've used this tag, which, as you can see, is shaped like a house, in 2 different booklets that I have released. Let's see, one in March, and then I think my second one, I'm trying to think. I can't remember, was it June? It might have been June. It doesn't matter. So the first one I released was Petite Cottages. And I'll show you what the little models look like. You can see they're just mounted on the wooden tags. It makes a great ornament. And there are 3 completely different little cottages. And in this booklet, you can see what they look like. And those were released in March. And to mount these on the wooden tag is not hard at all. So you would stitch your design. I've talked to you about this before. I would lay your stitch design on your printer and make a copy of it. And once you have a paper copy of it, then you can use that as a template to mount it on the wooden tag. And I use, as I've mentioned before, comic board, which is a wonderful weight mounting board. It is lighter than a mat board, and the beauty of comic board is it can be cut with a scissors. I do use a little bit of batting or felt underneath my design to give it some depth. And then I just make a little twisted cording to go around the edges. So this little house tag is going to be available again. And I actually, as I mentioned, I'll show you the book once again. So this is what the booklet looks like. It's actually a trifold with pictures and complete instructions. And I worked this on a 32 count linen, all 3 of these over 2. So the second design that I did, because the first, let me grab these here, turned out to be so much fun. Actually, Delphine and I came up with this idea. You may have seen them before. Is I did what I called Petite Christmas Cottages. And again, it's 3 designs. They fit on the little wooden tags that I now have back in stock. And you can change the ribbon at the top. They actually come, the Christmas ones come with red ribbon. The other Petite Cottages come with white ribbon. You could put whatever you wanted on that. But I think that would make such a darling ornament gift. And when I was thinking about planning this video for today, I thought to myself, oh my gosh, maybe it's because I've been away. It's not only is it fall, it's 10 days until November. How can that be? I kind of said, egads, because that's my favorite word to say when I'm just surprised at something that's happened. So in planning today's video, I thought, all right, I'm going to choose, because I'll probably only have 3 or 4 more videos before Christmas, I'm going to pull out Christmas designs and other pieces that I think are possible to finish if you're looking for gift ideas. Otherwise, I just hope to inspire you. That's what I like to do with the videos. So here is one of the petite Christmas cottages. And each one is a little different. Each one has trees and boughs and, let's pull this up, and bows. And then the third one in that series looks like this. And I mounted these the exact same way that I described when I talked to you about the petite cottages. I mounted them on a comic board with a little bit of batting. I sometimes add a little bow at the bottom. Actually, the bow at the bottom can cover that joining of the cording, which sometimes is hard to get looking just really nice and even and tight. And so if you put a bell or any kind of a little charm or trim at the bottom here, it's a great way to cover the base of that piece. So those are the little houses. They're just deer. They're laser cut. These are all tiny little stars along the roof line and a star at the top. So those tags are back in stock. And as I say, we'll be adding those to the website. And then I have two other tags to show you that I used, I think, 2 years ago. And these fall into the category of ornaments also. And actually, I think that the house would actually fit on this other tag. I like the house shape. It kind of lends itself to the design, but I'll show you some of the things that I used with this tag. So this tag comes in two sizes. It comes in this one, which is about 4 inches high, and this one, which is about 3 inches high. And I used the larger one for the design stitched over 2. I used the smaller one when I stitched the design over 1. And I usually stitch the over 1 designs on a 28 count fabric and the over 2 on a 32 count. So I'll show you the designs that I used for those tags. And I'll show you what the books look like. So this came out a couple years ago, I think. This was called French Christmas tags. This was the first version. And there are 3 designs in this series. I actually only have 2 of the models in front of me. So there is a house and a doorway and the word love. And one of my viewers, I remember, I think I've told you this before, but I thought it was such a great idea, did the doorway as a gift and then backstitched the numeral of the house of the person that she was giving it to. And I just thought that was a great idea. So this is the little doorway worked over 2, and this is what it looks like over 1. Those are the 2 sizes of the tags. And then in that booklet, as I showed you, there's also the love design. And all of these pieces I'm showing to you, the reason I chose them today is that I think they're fairly quick to stitch. It's not something that's going to take you a month of Sundays to finish it. So there's another booklet that also falls into this category. Let me grab it here and try not to make too much noise. So French Christmas Tags 2 follows in that same theme. And in this one, I have a little dove, and then I have a little cardinal. And so for the over 2 model, you can see what that looks like. I stitched it again on a 32 count, and here is the over 2 model of the other bird design. And then I also stitched them over 1 and made tiny little scissor fobs. And I just love the way that turned out. I'm pretty sure, maybe not. It looked from the light that I'd use that opalescent linen. I don't know if you've ever tried that, but it has a beautiful, very subtle shine to it. That would be beautiful to use. 28 count is what I used for this. And again, it's assembled, as I've mentioned before, mounting your design over 1 circle and then mounting your backing fabric over the second circle and then I hand stitch those two pieces together and just add a cording trim around the outside edges, as long as I don't stab myself here doing my demonstration. So that is one of the little scissor fobs, and here's the other one. And I think I mentioned this before too, but it doesn't hurt to mention it again. Krynic makes a wonderful tool to make your own cording. It's very hard to find cording, pre-made cording, in just the right color you need. And so I've shown you that little cording drill before. It's about 6 inches long. It's a red plastic tool. It looks like a little drill. It comes with great directions. It tells you not only how to make a single color cording, but how to make a 2-color cording and a 3-color cording. It just makes the most perfect trim. It's ideal. And once you practice making your own cording, I think you'll get a lot of satisfaction out of doing that for yourself. So those are the products that are going up on the website again. And now I'm going to move on and show you some other designs that are in my collection that might be inspiration for you going forward. So the first one I'm going to grab over here is called the booklet. Let me show you the booklet first. The booklet is called Be Merry, and I've actually stitched 2 models of this design. This was stitched on a 32 count fabric over 2, and it was on a linen white. And one of the reasons I pulled this today to show you is that there are a number of Flosstube people who I've mentioned before who are doing a JBW ornament stitch along. It's hashtag JBW ornament sal, S-A-L. And anything that I talk about today, I will list in my notes below my video after I finish recording. So Stitchy Linda just posted this week that she had finished stitching the Merry design as a flat. Now I am not sure yet how Linda's going to finish hers, so I'll be anxious to see what she does with it. But I want to show you 2 possibilities. So the first one, this was professionally finished by one of the gals that I use regularly, and it's just beautifully done. So this, the main design is actually not mounted on a board. It was just mounted flat with a little bit of lace trim around the edges. However, then she covered 2 boards, not only the front board, but the back board, with the backing fabric, with batting underneath it to give it some depth again. And then she sewed those 2 boards together and added a twisted cording in red and white, a twisted cording for the hanger, and then the little ribbon up in the upper corner here. But then I had this idea. I just love the look of drums. And so I stitched it again over 2 and had my finisher, let me walk you through this, finish it as a drum. And I thought it came out just beautifully. Now I'm going to show you a little later because I'm going to give away some pins. I have a viewer, Jersey Girl Stitcher. No, wait, let me look that up again, Teresa. I'll get it right. I will not fail you. So she makes beautiful pins, beaded pins. And so her pins would look so pretty in the top of this drum. The finisher finished it with velvet on the top. We added silk ribbon. Actually, I added the charm, and I actually found this little, I don't know if you can see it, that little strawberry at an antique store, and I thought it was so sweet. You can see what it looks like on the bottom. And as I've mentioned before, Vanna Pfeiffer has wonderful drum finishing instructions. I have not tried one myself, but I think it's time that I do that, don't you? I need to challenge myself to give that a try. So that design is Be Merry. And I don't think that would take too long to stitch, actually. So another design that I pulled out today was inspired by another Flosstuber. And I'm going to tell you the names of the Flosstube people who have mentioned some of my products lately because I really appreciate it. I have a viewer named Becky who is really good about watching Flosstubes, and then she'll write to me and she'll say, well, this person just featured your design, and she tells me the exact moment in the video that it's featured. I usually go back and watch their whole video, but I'm going to list all those sources because I have quite a few today that have been stitching my designs. So one of them, let's see, let me look at my notes. It was Elizabeth Can Stitch. No, I have it wrong. It was Flosstuber by the name of Made by Michelle McGraw, and she just stitched this design, which is Christmas Motif Sampler 2. This has actually been out quite a while, and it is part of a series. So I did, of course, Christmas Motif Sampler 1, and each one is a little different. And then I did another one a couple years later that I called Christmas Pear Tree. So they're all very similar. They're trees, but they're fairly simple to do. And I think it was, I'm trying to remember now. Now I'm getting all confused on who did what. But one of the gals, it might have been Liz with Country Stitchers, finished this over one as a round ornament, and it is gorgeous. So I'm going to list her name below. And then also Elizabeth Can Stitch just finished my Peace on Earth design. She shows the stitched model, and we'll have to stay tuned to see how she finishes it. So the only model that I have to show you of these three that I just mentioned is the Christmas Pear Tree design. And this is stitched over two. It's been finished as an easel, but I think it would be just darling stitched over one and finished as an ornament. So that's some of my inspiration for today. All right, I have a few more to show you. I hope you're stitching while you're listening. So this is Candy Cane Pockets, and again, I chose this because it's a simple design. I've used them before. It's a little set of ice skates. It's a little gingerbread boy. But the finishing is what I love because it's been finished as a tiny little pocket that you could put a gift card in. You could put just a little bill or some coins in it for a child. A little candy cane would be sweet in there. And I give finishing instructions in this booklet. And this booklet looks like this. So Candy Cane Pockets is another design. If you didn't want to make it into a pocket, you could just make it into a simple ornament. So that's another tiny design. I stitched the skates over two, and I've also stitched say that quickly, stitched the skates over one. And I just used a twisted cording for the edges. Up here I made little tassels for this finishing. And I've added my little candy cane to finish it off. And there are two little candy canes in that one. So that would be a fun thing for you to do. Another one that I love how it turned out. It actually didn't start out as a Christmas design. Alphabet in the Round. Started out just because one of my shops said, oh, I think you should do the alphabet in one of your round designs. And I thought, perfect, you know how much I love doing alphabets. But then when I found this darling little wooden ornament at Hobby Lobby, it actually comes in a plain wood. And I painted it and I stitched it over one. You could do it all in one color and leave out the background green. One of my stitchers posted on my friend's page, she did all the letters in one color, and then she stitched the excuse me, the initial of her last name in a second color, and it was just striking. So this really makes a sweet little ornament. And then I thought, let me grab these. So as you know, I have 4 Ornament Collection booklets, and it's always fun, I think, for you to see. I pulled out actually, let's see, 3, 4, I think 8 different ornaments from Collection I booklet. And the reason I pulled those is that they are such simple designs. And when I talk about my kind of designs, I always say to people, they're actually not that complex, but the thing that makes them look special is how they're finished. The finishing to me is the key. And so I'm going to show you 8 different ornaments. They're simple to do. These have been done over 1 on a 28 count, but you certainly could do them over 2 on 28 or 32, and they would not be that much larger. Excuse me. Let me take 1 second here. I'm sounding very hoarse, aren't I? So this is one that I pulled. This is from book 1. Let me show you that again. You've probably seen it in the past. So here's, I've done 4 of these incidentally. So this is Christmas Ornament Collection I. There are 20 ornaments in each booklet. And I love this little one. It's just trees within trees. So simple, you could probably stitch it in a night or 2. And all of the finishing on the ornaments that I'm going to show you is so similar. You need to make a template of the shape that you're going to be finishing it into. It might be a round, it might be a stocking, it might be a triangle like this. And then it's just a matter of cutting out your board, your design. You can use double-faced tape if it has straight edges. I use fabric glue if it has a rounded edge, but they're really not hard to finish. And as Annie with the Proper Stitcher says, the more you do, the easier it will get. So that's one of the ornaments in the collection booklet. Here's another one. All you'd have to do is make a circle. And this is little Scandinavian hearts that form a heart. This has a little bit of, I'm trying to think of the name of the fiber and I can't. It has a little, it's like a little fuzzy fiber that has been intertwined with the twisted cording. So that's another one in this booklet. This would be a sweet, easy one to do. It's just a little chalet with snowflakes. Again, after I finish stitching it, I'd make a copy of it so you have the shape. Cut out your backing fabric, cover your front board, sandwich the 2 together, and this just has chenille as a trim around the outer edges. Here's another one. Again, a little Scandinavian heart. It was finished with a tiny heart backing. The little tags that I put on the back are just to remind myself which booklet each of my ornaments come from, because sometimes I send them out for trunk shows, and I usually send a selection from book 1, 2, 3, and 4. So that's my little notation to myself. This has been finished with a ruched ribbon, and if you look at it closely, you can see that the ribbon has been twisted, and then a pin with a bead has been put between each twist of the ribbon to secure it between those front and the back layer. This design was done in a similar way. It's a star tree. And again, Vanna Pfeiffer talks about ruched ribbon, and you could check that out on her page. Let's see, I don't think I've shown you this one yet. This is a little circle of trees. All very simple to do. This is a French country star. And these all came out of books that I had published in the past. So it makes a nice collection. You wouldn't have to put the wording on there. And again, you could make this a different shape if you wanted to. You could make it a square, or you can make a half circle at the top. And this falls into a similar category. It's another little Christmas tree with motifs. It's kind of like a reverse French country, so the background is solid and the motifs are empty. I love how that turned out. So those are 8 ornaments that came from my Christmas Ornament Collection Book 1. And I thought perhaps that would be inspiration for you too. So I just have a few more things and then I will end for today. So I love it when people send me pictures of things that they have done of my designs, but they've changed them completely. And I will tell you, as a designer, that does not bother me at all. Change the fabrics, change the colors, do whatever you want to make it something that you love. So in this case, and I want to show you how different things look when things are changed. This is another one of my round designs. So let me so this is Doggies in the round. And of course there's the kitties and there's rabbits. There's lots that fall into this category. This is actually the lid of a box, and a lot of times with my box lids, I add another chart to the design and stitch that just to have a little surprise on the inside lid. But look at what this gal did, and she just gave me permission to post this on my friend's page, and I forgot to write down her name. So I so apologize to you who did such a beautiful job. So she took Doggies in the round and stitched each dog in a different color. And she really simplified the background. I don't even think she put in necessarily all the little leaves and background that I often include, but I love the way it's finished. It was mounted in a box from Hobby Lobby with leaves and little pumpkins and little berries. And isn't that just striking? I just thought, oh my gosh, I have to share this with you all to show you what can be done with a design, to change it, to make it your own. So thank you to the gal that sent that to me. So I have several, usually at the end of the video, I do a couple things. I have a quote for the day, and I do have that. There are a couple of things I want to do. There are a couple of Flosstubers, as I mentioned, who have been so kind, and not only are they sending me products to give away, but they're also mentioning my designs, and I'll list them in my notes below. But one of the people that just sent me a couple of products is Lori with Thread Milk Designs. And if you're not familiar with Lori, check her out. She has a great video. She does a couple of things. She has a whole series of state designs that are very, very easy and quick to stitch. And each one has symbols that signify the importance of things that are in the state of Michigan. So it was founded in 1837. The cherry is definitely one of our fruits from northern Michigan. It was the 26th state, and the pine tree. So I'm going to give away this pattern in my next video, and then she sent 2 other products for me to give away. So thank you, Lori. She also has a series called For the Bowl, and this is her Halloween. Sorry about the glare, but she has several tiny little pillows that can fit in a little bowl for display. And then she makes the most interesting little thread keeps. And this is what this set looks like. It's a Halloween set with a little black cat. It would look so cute with some of my Halloween designs that I showed you last month. So those 3 products I'm going to give away in my next video. And then, as I mentioned before, it's Jersey Girl Stitch Company. Thank you, Teresa. She does these gorgeous beaded pins. And I thought that these would look beautiful in the top of a drum or in a pillow that you've been working on. So she sent me several sets. I'm going to give away this set, which is called White Christmas. And I'll list the name of her company below, Jersey Girl Stitch Company. And she and her daughter make these gorgeous pins. So thank you, Teresa, for that gift too. And then I think what I'll do, this is a little different than I usually do. If you make a comment, and if you are interested in a certain product, like one of Lori's products, I'll have you put Thread Milk in your comment. Or if you're interested in the pins from Jersey Girl. I'll have you list that. And then also you can list one or two of the designs I've shared with you today, and I will give those booklets in my next video. We'll see how this works. The way I've got it organized doesn't sound quite right, does it? So here are some Flosstubers that I really want to acknowledge. Lori of Threadmilk, Annie of the Proper Stitcher. She just not only finished the Christmas bells design, but in her last video she finished my French Country Santa, and it looks fabulous. You've got to look at her finishing. She finished it with velvet on the back. It looks great. Made by Michelle McGraw. I was wrong when I talked about her before. Michelle is actually working on the Twas the Night series of ornaments, which is 4 separate books, and she's making them, each book has 3 designs, and she's making those into separate ornaments. Country Stitchers, as I mentioned, did the Christmas Motif Sampler. Elizabeth Can Stitch did Peace on Earth. And finally, a Farm Girl, Chrissy, Stitchy Linda, and Annie are working on my JBW ornament sale. So thank you, ladies. You are the best. I'm so appreciative. My quote of the day is this: may every sunrise bring you hope. May every sunset bring you peace. I'll close by saying if you need to contact me, the best way to reach me is judy@jbwdesigns.com. You can also check out my Instagram account, which is judy.whitman. You can go on my website, which is jbwdesigns.com. So thanks so much for watching today, for patience with my hoarse voice, and I plan to see you in just a few weeks. So take care. Happy stitching. Bye-bye.